Welcome to the Deficient Vegans podcast. I'm the Muscle Deficient Vegan here with the Protein Deficient Vegan. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi, everybody. This is episode 25. We're going to talk about hitting your protein goals on a budget. Money is tight this time of year with the holidays coming up.
And the U.S. is still a dumpster fire.
Yep, and that's where we are, so we thought it might be a really good topic to cover. Also, it's just nice to save money. So we're going to discuss also, very exciting, a new interactive protein database that you created.
We created it.
Yeah, well,
I did all of the manual data entry, and then you birthed it into the world.
Yeah, I made it to where people can get to the data and use it. So that's on the website. We'll have a link in the show notes. It's actually in one of the older blog posts where it had a table already with some protein sources, but it's like supercharged now. So we're going to look at some protein sources that are a little more expensive than you would have thought. In some cases, a lot more expensive than you would have thought. And some that are actually really cheap and maybe even cheaper than you would have realized before. Also, we're going to talk about some ideas for how you can use some of those cheaper protein sources so you can really get a good bang for your buck. But first up, new news.
New news! We did steal that from the New Heights podcast, but we're so small they'll never know.
That's right.
Plus, we just think your guys are really cool, so...
Yeah, so the first thing that is happening right now is Miyoko's Creamery, who has like butter and cheeses and stuff. It's been around for a long time. If you didn't know, there was a lady, Miyoko, who used to own it. And then, she kind of got screwed by her business partners, it sounded like, and she kind of got pushed out of the business. But now, this week, it sounds like the business is back up for sale and she's trying to buy it back.
Which is very cool, because I know some people have been boycotting the products because they don't like the way she was treated. So, and I'm hoping some of the products come back, because there were a few that don't exist anymore, and maybe she'll bring them back.
Yeah.
Because I had favorites.
Right.
So.
Cool. So, good luck, Miyoko. Next up. So some researchers in Brazil have made a new sustainable kind of meat substitute made out of sunflowers. That's
pretty cool.
Yeah, they made a couple different kinds. They did flour derived from sunflower grains, and then they did like a textured sunflower protein.
Oh?
Yeah, it sounds like they said the textured protein version made like much better patties and stuff. They were able to do some processes to get the sunflower flour, to say that 3 times fast, to have a really...
Sunflower flour, sunflower flour, sunflower flour.
Wow. Challenge accepted. Good job. They said it has a really neutral flavor. They said it's actually a lot more neutral flavor than some of the other protein powder options out there. So something to look forward to.
That's really interesting. I'll be interested to see what the macros are and the price point.
I couldn't find that in the... it was just like a little article in a science journal, but I'll link that in the show notes, and I'm sure we'll get more information at some point.
I'm always down to use more protein sources.
Next up, if you happen to get groceries at Walmart, they're going to be expanding some of their plant-based options. They're adding brands like Eat Just, like people who made Just Egg, and Daring and Impossible Foods. I actually really like the Daring. I think it's like a Cajun type, fake chicken wing type thing. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, and I think Eat Just came out with, I think, some chicken and some other products that are more meat alternative related, but we haven't been able to find them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's good to see stores, especially something as big as Walmart, adding options when we're seeing so many options kind of get taken away and a lot of products like going out of business or being discontinued entirely.
Yeah. Keep it up, guys.
All right, so now let's get into the main topic of the podcast. So we both like spreadsheets and data and numbers. We really nerd out over that kind of thing. So you spent quite a lot of time building out this big spreadsheet of over 200 protein sources.
Boy, I'm a lady in the streets, but I'm a freak in the spreadsheet. And I really do love me some data entry.
Yeah. So you basically went on like a scavenger hunt through Reddit comments and hundreds of pages on Amazon search results to get just the vegan protein sources. So this is like raw sources, single source ingredients, in addition to packaged products, all kinds of things that you might associate with like vegan protein and what can I eat. So you ended up, like I said, with a little over 200. The prices in the table are not based on sale prices, so we can try to kind of equalize where the starting point is for everything.
It felt more fair.
You also got nutritional information and number of servings all kind of rolled together into that table.
All right, so then we used that raw data and we did some calculations to make new data that is now sortable.
Yeah.
So you can sort by ascending or descending order to get information that you want.
Yeah, and you can also like filter out the columns you're interested in and things like that. So a lot of options.
If you happen to be listening and you have access to a phone or computer and you would like to follow along, we're going to be talking about how this database works. So you can just pull it up and kind of listen to what we're talking about.
Yeah, and the link to actually go right to the blog post that has the table will be in the show notes wherever you're listening to the podcast here.
Yeah, so these are the things you can sort by.
The percentage of protein on a calorie basis.
This is the number of calories that come from protein.
Yeah.
Percentage-wise. This is the number I usually look at when I'm planning out our meals for the week, or honestly, this is kind of how I do recipes too. I'll look at what different ingredients, like the percentage they have, and figure out what I need to add to my recipes to get them the total percentage I want.
Yeah. And typically when you're using something like MyFitnessPal, you'll have a percentage of protein you need to hit for your daily calories. So that might be like 30% of your calories for the day have to come from protein. So you can kind of look at your foods and say, okay, well, if I eat a bunch of stuff that's like 10% protein, I'm going to need more things that are like 60, 70% protein to kind of make up for that.
Right. I think specifically having this data to sort by is really helpful, especially if you're trying to hit a protein goal like you said. Because, sometimes you don't know what the percentage actually is, and you end up with like 400 calories left because you ate peanut butter all day and you have to hit 100 grams of protein.
Yeah, that'd make it pretty hard. The next thing that you can sort by is the grams of protein per US dollar.
Yeah, this is one I thought was super helpful as far as being able to find cheap protein sources, and it kind of normalizes the data. So instead of comparing like the cost dollar per serving or how much does the container of whatever cost, this kind of like equalizes it. So we're comparing apples with apples.
Yeah. And as much as we'd like to put in all the different currencies around the world, that's really hard to fit into the web page format that we have. So it is all going to be anchored in US dollars. So hopefully that's not too terribly inconvenient.
Yeah.
Next up is grams of protein per 100 grams of mass or weight.
Yeah. I only included that because I see a lot of people talking about that. I personally don't really use that number, but if you do, you can sort by it.
Yeah, people ask for it all the time. I also don't really even see the value in it, but it is popular, and some people, that's how they do their mental frame of reference. So we put it in there. The next one up is US dollar per 100 calories of the product. So this one isn't necessarily protein related, but if you're trying to get in your calories on a budget, you can sort by this column. You can kind of compare, like if you sort by this one, you'll also see in the other columns, which maybe has higher protein at the same price point and things like that.
Yeah, and I feel like this one was interesting because there are some products that are like 90% protein, so the numbers might look better on the protein grams per dollar, but then when you look at the per 100 calories, it's like you're going to be spending a lot of money to eat.
Yeah.
So like say your budget is $10 a day and you're sitting at like 2,000 calories that you have to get. I think you would look for anything under 50 cents per 100 calories.
Yeah.
Is how you would look at the table.
Yeah. And then the last one that's kind of like a measurement is calories per 100 grams of weight.
Yeah. And this is another one that I don't really use too much, but I think it would be good if you're like, let's say you're trying to eat high volume foods, like you don't have many calories, but you want to feel full. This is a good metric to look at to figure out which foods like contain the most water, so like they'll keep you fuller.
Yeah, maybe just sort this one most to least and then see something in the top 10 that maybe you want to keep around for something that's like a little more filling throughout the day.
And then all of those are the sortable fields.
Right. Also, the other column you can see right there on the front of the database is a link. So you have a link to all of these products so people can get to them really easy.
Yeah. And so that you can see what sources I'm referencing for how I came up with the dollar amount and also the nutritional facts.
Yeah. Also, all of the food items in there are categorized as well. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. And you can filter by the category.
Yeah. So if you just want to see your refrigerator staples or your grains or something like that, you can filter, and you can add multiple filters so you can see like a list of different things. It's pretty customizable.
Yeah. I like it because you can compare things that are in a similar vein. So like I'm going to compare all the meat alternatives and see which are the cheapest or which are the highest percentage of protein, or I'm going to compare all the protein powders, or I'm going to compare all the snacks. But I did come up with all the categories and I put everything in the categories. So if you disagree with me, let me know.
Yeah. And the categories, I'll read through them. There's not very many. The categories we have right now are beans and lentils, dairy alternatives, egg alternatives, fridge staples, grains, meat alternatives, miscellaneous, nuts and seeds, pantry staples, pasta and bread, prepared meals, protein bars, protein shakes, snacks, and vegetables. So there might be more added over time, or maybe some will be consolidated. Who knows? But that's where it is right now.
Yeah. If you think of anything we should add, let us know.
We also have a field in there for storage. So basically how you have to store the food in your house.
Yeah. And since I am constantly on Reddit, I've seen a lot of posts about people saying like, hey, I don't have a fridge, or hey, I don't have a freezer. What can I buy for a protein source?
Yeah.
So this kind of tells you if it needs to be stored in the fridge, freezer, if it's short-term shelf stable, meaning like bread, or if it's long-term shelf stable, something like TVP or Vital Wheat gluten.
Yeah. And that's really useful information because if you want to save some stuff for the zombie apocalypse, you might want to go for long-term shelf stable, which you can filter by.
Exactly. And it's coming.
Next up, you have effort required. There are a lot of places where you can see like, okay, the best thing to buy is like beans and rice, and that's great, but you kind of have to do a lot to get that to where it's edible in a lot of cases.
Right.
So.
Exactly. Especially since there's going to be, dried beans and canned beans. And the difference there is the effort level, right? Like with dried beans, you have to actually prepare them. Whereas like canned beans, you can either eat them straight out of the can or you can warm them up, but like very minimal effort. So that could factor into things you choose to spend a little bit more money on for convenience.
So the options here are either ready to go, you have to warm it up, or you actually have to like prep it and cook it.
Yeah. And that would be more of like single source ingredients like tofu, vital wheat gluten. Like you have to do something with those to make them into a meal or something you can consume.
Right. Yeah. So if you're looking for easy mode, ready to go. Right?
Yep. There's a lot of stuff under ready to go.
Yeah. Another thing that's in there that's actually really useful is an allergies filter. So we have filters for soy-free, gluten-free, and nut-free. So if you have one of those allergies or if it's just even a preference, you can filter by that and basically just eliminate all the stuff on the table that you don't want to eat.
Yeah, and I had to pull that data out manually by going through all the ingredient labels. So if you see a mistake, I'm sorry, let me know, because I am not a robot and I am prone to mistakes.
Yeah, a lot of manual entry went into this.
Yeah. But I think well worth it. It is like a very useful table.
For sure. Also, when you go to look at the table, you're going to see like the main columns that we've been talking about here, but there's also a plus button on each food item that's in there that expands out into some additional information. Some of the things in there are like some comments you wrote about how to use the product. And not everything has this, just kind of the ones that require a lot of prep. There's also info about where you got the price from and the date that entry was updated.
Yep. And I do plan on updating this table probably at minimum once a year just to make sure the prices are still mostly accurate and that products haven't been discontinued.
Right. Oh, we also have some future features in mind. Actually, already got some feedback from the community on some things they'd like to see. You actually got quite a bit of excitement. It just got released a couple of days ago, and you've already got like people, oh, you should do this, and how can I contribute, and things like that.
Yes,
so it's
it's
cool.
Awesome. I'm very excited. I need more people to see it, though.
Yeah.
So share it wide.
Yeah, so some of the things to support that we're going to be doing, we're going to have a form so you can submit foods you want to see in there, or if you happen to see any mistakes, you can send that in and say, hey, I think maybe this needs to be changed.
Yeah, and I think where this could be really useful is right now all the products are US based, or at least like they're things you can buy in the US because that's where I'm based, and that's really honestly like the only thing I can see is like products that I can purchase. I don't really know even where to look for like stuff in Germany or stuff in Spain. We got some feedback on Reddit that it could be useful if we added some other countries' data. So I think like a form where they could enter that data for me, like so we can crowdsource the data, would be really helpful.
Yeah, and once we get some of the other kind of international stuff in there, we'll add a filter for the country. So if there's stuff that's only available in certain countries, you can just see that information.
Yeah, and I think if we get enough eyes on this, it could be like a big group project, which would be really fun.
Yeah. We might also add fiber per 100 calories. I know that's something you were kind of thinking through.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. It is going to take a lot of work, so I'd be interested if anyone on this podcast thinks that would be useful. I mean, I kind of feel like it's useful. It tells a little bit more of the story around different protein sources, which is really what the table is supposed to tell you. Is like the whole story of why it's priced this way, or like, is it a good price for what you're getting?
Yeah. And when you go to use the table on the webpage, there is a little like a fold out section for how to use it to kind of talk about some of the stuff we've talked about here, but also in general, just like how to physically use the table on the website. Now that we've talked the table to death, let's move on to some of the cheapest and most expensive protein sources that we have in there. So we can just kind of talk through some of them.
Yep. So these are sorted by protein grams on a US dollar basis.
Okay. So these are high protein per dollar. Good bang for your buck.
Yeah. You get a lot of protein per dollar.
Number 1 on the list, dry lentils.
Yeah. Who would have thought? Probably everyone. But we're going to let you know that that's number 1 on our list right now.
Yeah. And again, this doesn't necessarily mean they're like the highest protein density, but this is the highest protein per dollar.
Yep. So this one's coming in at around 83 grams of protein per dollar. And that's based on where I found it. You could probably get it even cheaper, like at your local grocery store or if there's a sale.
Yeah. Which is insane, by the way. It's like, it's pretty far above some of the other stuff on the table. So.
Yeah. So if you're on a budget, you should definitely be using lentils.
Yeah. And they are 32% protein by calorie, too. So that's slightly less than most protein bars. Pretty good, all things considered.
Great, honestly. Yeah. And they're shelf stable.
Yeah.
So these are dried, so they're shelf stable. They're a little bit more work than like a canned lentil, but for the price difference, I think you're going to want to choose dried lentil. So these are good for soups, chilies, shepherd's pie. You can even make your own lentil tofu or lentil wraps.
I don't think I've heard of lentil tofu.
Yeah, you can tofu anything, pretty much.
That makes sense. All right, number 2 on the list is dry beans.
I know, big shocker. No one could have guessed this. We're bringing you hot information.
Beans are cheap. You heard it here first. Dried chickpeas and pinto beans were technically the cheapest at like 60 to 80 grams of protein per dollar. A lot of the other beans are cheap too. Those are just kind of the cheapest ones you found in your search.
Yeah, which, like I said, you might find cheaper deals at your local grocery store or when there are sales happening. But even if I saw a sale, I took whatever the price is normally listed at. So it would be like a fair comparison.
Yeah. Beans, not quite as high protein per calorie as lentils, still respectable, like 25 to 28% protein. But, you're not going to be able to eat beans all day and hit your protein goal for most people.
Yeah.
So.
The other good thing, though, is that lentils and beans also offer a lot of fiber.
That's true, yeah. Fiber's awesome.
So it's like you're getting it cheap, you're getting high protein, and you're getting fiber.
Plus, they're delicious.
They are delicious.
All right, number 3 is Vital Wheat Gluten.
My favorite.
Yeah. So we've left the bean arena.
Yes, for now, I think. Yeah, and maybe forever.
So Vital Wheat Gluten, 50 to 60 grams of protein per dollar. Still very good.
Very good. And Vital Wheat Gluten is super protein dense. I think it's like 80 to 90% protein on a calorie basis.
Yeah. Also shelf stable.
Yep. So the price does vary a bit on this. When I was looking, I found the Anthony's 4-pound bag is very well priced, and you only have to buy 4 pounds at a time. There is a 25-pound bag option from Bob's Bread Mill, which is a little bit cheaper, but you, of course, would need to figure out what to do with a 25-pound bag of Vital Wheat Gluten, which is, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if you are really into seitan,
I think it'd be fine. Yeah. Or if you're feeding a large family, it probably makes sense. But it also is a large dollar commitment up front to get a 25-pound bag versus like a 4-pound bag.
Yeah, so some of the things you can make with that. Seitan, obviously, is the big one with Vital Wheat Gluten. You have a lot of recipes for high-protein baked goods.
Yes, I really like bread, pretzels, bagels, pizza dough.
And some high-protein desserts.
Yes, like our chocolate seitan. You should check it out.
And we also have the cinnamon donut hole things that are really awesome.
Yeah, those are really good. And we got a couple other desserty seitan recipes. We do a lot with seitan. We do a lot with Vital Wheat Gluten.
Yeah, for good reason. Number 4 on the list, to probably nobody's surprise, peanuts and peanut butter.
Yes.
You knew it was going to show up here somewhere.
It's very cheap. We don't really recommend this as like a primary protein source, but it is a very cheap food option if you're trying to save money, and you do get a lot of calories for your dollar.
Peanuts specifically are about 19% protein.
Yes, and they come in around 54 grams of protein per dollar.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And then peanut butter, a little lower, 48 grams of protein per dollar, and maybe cheaper if you get like a store brand. Yeah. I think we use Skippy in the comparison here. And then that's only 15% protein. So,
right.
Yeah.
So, and they're also high in fat, but they're super cheap.
Yeah, and they're healthy fats. They're good fats.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're on a budget and you're looking for a way to get high calories for cheap, this is a really good option.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you can put it on some bread made out of Vital Wheat Gluten.
Ah, there you go.
And then there you go.
Now we just got to find high-protein jelly. All right. Number 5 on the list, one of our favorites, a textured vegetable protein.
Yes, we do love TVP in this house.
So you could buy it in a bulk bag, right?
Yeah, so the price does vary a lot on TVP. These are based on Amazon pricing, but you might also be able to find it cheaper in the bulk section of your grocery store or at like an Asian market.
Yeah.
But these are the prices currently. The 25-pound bag of Bob's Red Mill, which we do have, is about 51 grams of protein per dollar, which is incredible. The next one that I found that was the cheapest after that was a 1.5-pound bag of Anthony's, which is 24 grams per dollar. So almost twice as expensive. So I think this one, unlike the Vital Wheat gluten where the difference wasn't that much.
Yeah.
I think if you have the storage and you think you could use 25-pound bags, this is probably a good one to spend money on.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a hugely better value to get the biggest bag.
Yeah, and I think it's around $108 currently. Some other websites sell them, but I haven't bought a 25-pound bag from anywhere other than Amazon. But we've had ours for like a year, and it's still going strong.
And TVP in general, 60 to 70% protein.
Yeah, so very good, and also high in fiber.
Also, it's a complete protein.
It does it all, kids.
So some of the things you can use TVP for, it's great as a ground beef substitute for things like tacos, enchiladas, shepherd's pie, chilies. You have a good bacon bits recipe with this. Also, again, high-protein baked goods. Who would have thought?
I know. I really like to use it in muffins, cookies, and it makes a hell of a cheesecake and pie crust. Which, it sounds weird, but trust me, we just ate a pumpkin pie this morning.
All right, so that was our top 5 of kind of the best bang for your buck in terms of protein.
Yeah, and just to recap, it was dried lentils, dried beans, Vital Wheat gluten, peanuts and peanut butter, and TVP, textured vegetable protein.
Yeah, so definitely recommend keeping basically all of those around in your house.
Yeah.
So next, we're going to talk about the most expensive products on a grams of protein per dollar basis.
Yep.
And again, this is in US dollars.
Yeah, this is taking nothing else into account other than grams of protein per dollar basis. And we'll explain a little bit around why these might appear so expensive. So number 1, these two were kind of tied, but Green Bites protein cookie, which I know is a big fan favorite. I see it all the time. And also just vegan jerky. We compared 2 brands of vegan jerky, and these were both only 1.5 grams of protein per dollar.
Yeah. And just, a flashback there, we were talking about dry lentils at 83 grams of protein per dollar.
Yeah.
So they're like 60 times more expensive for protein per dollar wise than dry lentils.
And we'll get to the percentage of protein of these later, but the lentils are actually a higher percentage of protein as well.
Oh, that's
yeah. So these are convenience foods, and they kind of fill that junk food craving while also having some protein. So that's kind of why the price is so high. They're also kind of smaller companies, really.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
They do taste good. I'll give them that.
Yeah, for sure. And these prices were taken without affiliate discount codes that people are always pushing. So you could get these like a little bit cheaper, but I mean, these are like drastically more expensive than some of the other foods if you're on a budget.
Yeah, one of the other issues, like especially with some kind of protein cookie like this, is they don't keep very long, like maybe a couple of days, even if you put it in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
So, you're getting a really expensive product and then you have to eat it pretty fast.
Yeah. All right. So the protein sandwich cookie specifically from Green Bites is 22 to 23% protein on a calorie basis.
And the 2 vegan jerky brands we looked at were Vegan Jerky, y'all, and Louisville Vegan Jerky.
These brand names were meant for him to say because he is from Kentucky. But these came in around 22 to 24% protein. So if we think back to beans and lentils, the beans and lentils are still higher percentage of protein than either of these.
Yeah.
Not to say that's the only reason you would buy things, because you also have the convenience factor, right?
Yeah, convenience factor, you want to take them on a road trip, something like that. Yeah.
I think the main takeaway here, though, is, if you have money to spend on these things and they make you happy, you should go for it. You should eat all the protein cookies and all the vegan jerky you want until your heart's content. But if you're trying to reduce your budget and these things are things that you are buying, you might want to look into better options. Or make your own, which is a great option.
Yeah. Do you know where we can find any recipes to make our own things?
I have not a clue.
All right. Number 2 for kind of most expensive on a protein per dollar basis is oat milk. So a little disappointing, but it's only 1.6 grams of protein per dollar.
Which, oat milk is never meant to be a protein source, but I was comparing all of the milk alternatives because I know some people go back and forth on whether they want to use soy milk, so I thought it might be an interesting comparison. But even if you look at how much does it cost on a calorie basis, you're paying $1.50 for 100 calories of oat milk.
That sounds insane.
I also thought it sounded insane. Now, this was the most expensive plant-based milk on the list, but almond milk wasn't far behind.
Yeah, so soy milk is significantly cheaper on a protein basis and a calorie basis, and that's our go-to for that reason. And plus the taste of it, I think, is just better.
It's also higher protein percentage on a calorie basis. You're talking like 35 to 40% protein.
Yeah. Plus, again, complete protein. Not that the little bit in your soy milk matters too much, but you could also get one of those machines like the Almond Cow, and I think there's some other ones. That's just the one that comes to the top of my head. If you want to make your own plant-based milk, if you really want an almond milk or an oat milk, but you want it to be cheaper.
Yeah. But, you do have to pay for the cost of the machine. So it's like how many glasses of oat and almond milk do you need to make to pay it off?
Yeah, you got to make your own milk for 10 to 15 years to get your return. So, yeah, I don't know if that's the real number or not. But next up, number 3 is juicy marbles.
I'm sure you've seen this like on Instagram, on everywhere. Like it looks really good, but it's like it is pitched as a luxury food item and it is priced accordingly.
Yeah. 2 grams of protein per dollar and then $4.69 per 100 calories.
Yeah. So you're paying $4.69 for 100 calories of food. Like that's crazy. I mean, I could see us buying it maybe one time just to try it because it looks great and I hear great things. And I think there are sales on it,
Yeah. And it is 40% protein, so that's pretty good, but damn.
Yeah. I guess, maybe it's comparable to expensive meats. I don't really know because I've never bought meat.
Yeah. So some of the ways, like if you like something like that, but you want to maybe not spend that kind of money on it, you can make your own. Again, seitan is like really cheap for a meat alternative, and you can make it pretty easily at home.
Yeah, with Vital Wheat gluten, which was one of our top 5 cheapest.
Yeah, and then some, if you want like a ready-to-go meat alternative, there are still cheaper ones. Some of those on a grams of protein per dollar basis are like the Gardein ground beef is 14 grams of protein per dollar. Light Life hot dogs, about 13 grams a dollar. Upton seitan, 11 grams a dollar. And then Beyond patties are 10 grams of protein per dollar.
Yeah, and a lot of the other meat alternatives come somewhere in the range of like 7 to 9 grams per dollar. This one's just really high for probably because it's a smaller brand and it's a more luxury item.
Yeah. And we got some other meat alternatives listed on the table as well, and you can filter by that to just see those if you want.
Yep.
Next up, protein per dollar is fresh veggies, not a great value.
Yeah. Well, these are amazing, and you need to be eating vegetables.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be your main protein source.
Yeah.
If for no other reason than they're pretty expensive on a protein per dollar basis.
Yeah. And, to be fair, most people aren't looking for protein out of their vegetables, but a lot of people do bring this up online.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But baby spinach, 2.5 grams of protein per dollar. Cauliflower, 2.7 grams a dollar. Mushrooms, 3.2 grams of protein per dollar. So a little better. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in general, we're not even in the ballpark of like the actual protein sources.
Yeah. Still cheaper than juicy marbles, though.
Yeah.
And these ones we listed are around like the 30 to 40% protein.
Yeah.
Some solutions, you could maybe buy frozen and canned veggies. Sometimes those are cheaper. You're more likely to find deals on those. Once again, these are prices that were not sale prices, so that they were more evenly comparable.
Plus, the frozen ones stay good longer. You know how spinach stays in the fridge for like 2 or 3 days and it gets real slimy.
I know. Or broccoli
mushrooms,
even. Yeah.
Mushrooms these days tend to go bad a lot faster.
They go bad so fast. It's so sad.
I don't think you can really get frozen mushrooms, can you? But
no, they sell canned, but I don't really even consider the mushrooms. It's like the ones they put on crappy pizzas,
Oh man. Well, but spinach, you can buy spinach frozen and other vegetables, broccoli.
Cauliflower, broccoli.
Yeah.
The other solution is to eat these as a vegetable serving, not as a main protein source. We mentioned a lot of other really great protein sources, so this shouldn't be your primary protein source. Yeah,
and again, you should be eating a lot of veggies. They're not very good, price-wise, they're not very good bang for your buck for protein.
Yeah. Honestly, calorie-wise either, dollar per calorie, it's pretty steep. So.
All right, and then number 5 on the list of the more expensive options are the non-soy tofus.
Yeah, I've seen a couple options, mostly chickpea, pumpkin, and fava bean tofu. Chickpea comes in around 2.5 grams per dollar. Pumpkin is like 5.5 grams per dollar, and then the fava bean is actually not too bad. It's 9.8 grams per dollar. But these are still like way more expensive than soy tofus. And then if you're looking at other data pieces, the chickpea and pumpkin tofus are only around 22% protein on a calorie basis, so like half as much as soy tofu.
Oh, wow, that's actually kind of surprising.
Yeah, so I feel like if you're on a budget, I would not be putting chickpea or pumpkin tofus in my cart. The one made with fava beans is actually kind of interesting because it has crazy macros. We're talking like 91% protein.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, so I can maybe understand why you might want to buy those. I feel like that's like an exception. It is like outstanding in its field, right? Like maybe you could throw some dollars at it.
Yeah, and some of the things you can do if you don't want to buy these because they're a little too expensive, you can make your own tofu with dried beans or lentils or pumpkin seeds.
Yep. And then, seitan might even be a better option for you if you're soy intolerant.
So that's some of the most expensive and the cheapest stuff, protein per dollar on the table. Again, we have all the other data points, a ton of entries on the table. Really recommend you go on there and check it out. Let us know if there's anything that surprised you on there. I know when I was looking through it after you initially put the data together, I was just sitting there like, wow, that's crazy. Oh my God, I never knew that. Like so many things popped up that I never thought of. And I think it probably will like change some of the buying habits too. So.
Yeah.
So, let us know.
The thing that was most shocking to me was actually the price difference between a huge bulk bag of TVP versus like a 4-pound bag.
Oh, yeah.
That was crazy. It's like double the price. I was shocked about that.
Yeah, really surprising. All right. Now we're going to move into our myth of the week for this week. The myth of the week this week is that you need to be eating only complete protein sources. Yeah, so that's not true. The complete protein is important because you do need all the amino acids in the right proportions to build muscle and maintain muscle so you're not losing muscle. But if you eat one food that's not a complete protein source, you're probably eating it with other food that gives you the amino acids that you're missing from that food. So you don't need to go out necessarily and intentionally like combine things in the same meal. But it does tend to happen naturally. Most people don't just sit down and just eat like seitan off the plate.
Yeah.
They're going to have it with some other things. Seitan specifically is a little short in lysine, that amino acid. So if you're eating it with other things on your plate, those things are probably going to provide the lysine you need. Or even within like a couple of hours of eating the seitan, like it's really more of a cumulative thing than it's, I need every piece of food that I eat to be a complete protein.
Yeah. So if you think about amino acids, like friends you're inviting to a pool party, as long as they all show up to the pool party in your stomach, it doesn't really matter what time they come, right?
That's true. Mm-hmm.
If it is something that you're worried about, though, you could probably round it out with like, EAAs?
Yeah, if you like, I do actually tend to do that. Sometimes I do eat a pretty big serving of seitan, so I'll also do like a scoop of EAAs just to make sure I'm getting the extra lysine for that muscle building session of the day, for lack of a better word. Also, you can focus on soy, which is a complete protein, as like one of your major protein sources, or just do like a protein powder throughout the day that's like a blend, or it's a single source complete protein like soy.
And I think some other complete protein sources are nutritional yeast, quinoa,
buckwheat, spirulina. A lot of those are like you can't really get them in a high volume.
You can't get them in a high volume, but they're complete.
Yeah.
But you can also make your seitan with tofu, which is what I do.
Yeah. So you don't need to worry about it too much, but you do want to make sure you're not like getting like 50% of your protein for the day is like from this limited amino acid protein.
From vital wheat gluten or something. Yeah. So eat a varied diet, essentially.
Worth knowing how it works, but probably not something you're going to have to actively do things about day to day.
Yeah.
Next, you have a new YouTube video out this week for your long form recipes that you've been putting out. This one is your pumpkin spice donut holes.
Yeah, these are one of your favorites.
Yes, those are one of my favorites.
These are made with vital wheat gluten, which we just learned about is super duper cheap. And these taste really good, so you should check it out, and you should make it.
Yeah, super high protein. This is actually what I was thinking about when I just said sometimes I eat 100 grams of protein in seitan a day. So I'll sit down with my, large container of pumpkin spice donut holes and my EAA drink, and suddenly it's all complete.
It's called balance.
All right. Yeah. So check that out. That link will be in the show notes as well. So we hope you enjoyed this one. We hope you go out there and look at the table and really poke around and dive in there and give us feedback. We love to hear from everybody.
Please give us feedback. I want to do more data entry.
Also, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. And if you could leave a review, Apple Podcast tends to be the one that helps the most, but we get reviews everywhere. You can also leave a comment if you're listening in Spotify. We've had a couple people do that now. So that's pretty easy. We've also got a link in the show notes to send us a text message, so you can do that. We can't reply directly to it, but we can address it here on the podcast next time.
Also, comments and messages make us really happy because it kind of feels like we're talking into like the abyss.
Yeah, that's true. You particularly like to get yours in haiku form.
I do like haikus. When people leave me a recipe comment in haiku, it makes my whole life.
Yeah. So in the show notes as well, we have links to our websites and social media profiles. So feel free to reach out on any of those. Again, love to hear from everybody.
Yeah. And again, if you check out the table and you have any feedback, let me know because I want it to be the most useful table of all time.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Well, I think that's it for this week. Do you want to say bye?
Bye.
Bye, everybody.